They say you're not supposed to buy your old cars back, but they didn't own a 1979 Honda Accord. Yes, that is another car that I now own, and not for the first time. This is the second time I've owned this car, and if you're a little bit confused, we've got to go back in time and figure out exactly how I owned this car before. Somewhere in 2017, these are the exact pictures that popped up on my Facebook. A 1979 Honda Accord, quite literally well past its sell-by date. This sort of popped up at the perfect time because I'd not long sold my second-gen Honda Accord and I was itching to get something else. At the time, this was probably one of the biggest projects I'd really taken on. It was all unknown, it was a very rare car, parts were very scarce, but as you can see, the car sort of got thrown together and the budget was very, very low for this car, and I mean very, very low. It took me about a year and a bit to get coilovers, wheels, carb, tyres, all of this. It took me an age to get all the stuff, and there was a lot of bits missing when I first got it, but we put it together and I drove it around a lot. And as you see it now, is pretty much exactly what it looked like back then as well. So this car right here is a true survivor car. It not being a crisp packet right now is literally mind-blowing. I don't understand how it survived. This is a UK car. This is the best patina you will ever see on a UK car. I'm pretty certain on it. This is one of the main reasons I like the car so much. I love patina cars. If you know me, I've always liked really, really rough cars, and having a car like this where the paint looks so sun faded and bleached and you can sort of tell which way the car was parked. This is the sort of thing you see in a desert in Texas or something like that. This doesn't happen in the UK, and on this channel I've talked about patina in the past, how UK cars have sort of different patina to like a US car, but this is a true English first registration English car, and it looks like it's been sat in America, and it's been in the UK the entire time. All of the like 70s styling, like the pinstripe down the side, it's still there, it's still intact. It's all cracked in lots of little places, but it's still there. It has all the chrome trim. It has so many cool features on the entire car, which is the main reason why I love this car. The fact that I sold it in 2018, and in 2024 I bought it yet again, and it almost is identical to how I left it. I think that really says, you know, what sort of car it actually is. When I saw it on Facebook Marketplace, it was a wreck. I did so much work to it. Like, I had to put a new carb on it. I had to put obviously new suspension on it. I put these wheels on it. I had to put a radiator in it, fuel pump, all of these sort of things. To be honest, back then I had no money. So some of the stuff that I've done is something that I'd probably want to change. But for the most part, this car is exactly how I still want it. And I think that's pretty cool, because a lot of people will look back 8 years in their car journey. They look at the car they had 8 years ago. A lot of people will go, oh, I wouldn't do that now. This car is almost identical to how I would have it today. I don't really want to change anything on it apart from, you know, maintain it a bit. I don't think this car's been maintained ever in its life. I didn't do any of the brakes, I didn't do any ball joints, anything like that. I just got it running, driving, and then put it on the road. The brakes are pretty sharp, it doesn't throw you all over the road, it's actually relatively comfy. It was literally just thrown together. Sort of the car that sort of shaped me as a person to thinking, oh, you can just get an old car out of a bush and just throw it together and have something cool. And this car brings me so many cool memories. I had to have it back, I just had to buy it back. I see it again and I was like, that's the car. And if you know me and you've watched some of my stories or anything like that for a few years now, I've always said this is the only car that I would buy back, because all of my projects that I have or buy are just stepping stones to another project. And at the time when I sold this, I paid 500 quid for it. I probably had about 500-600 quid into it. And then I swapped it for a Sierra Rosa Sport, like apprentice wage at the time, and selling this for the amount of money that I did then was absolutely like mind-boggling. And obviously that money then funded some other project. So, you know, it wasn't all lost with this car. I was just gutted that I sold it. Now, you just heard that I paid 500 quid for this back in the day, put very minimal amount of money into it, drove it around, had the best time. Today's money, it cost me £3,250, which, to be honest, is about what I sold it for. I think I got a good deal of this back in the day. The money that I had into the stuff doesn't reflect to what it does in today's money, because that 500-600 quid was including the wheels. I paid 100 quid for the front pair of rims carnated, and then on the rear pair, I bought them from Japan and they cost me £63 with like £100 shipping, which you would not be able to do today. The badge here was new old stock from Honda. It was in the Honda logo bag and that cost me 140 quid, I believe. That was quite expensive. During my ownership now, I think I will probably go over a lot of things and redo a lot of things that younger me did. But for the most part, this is a turnkey car. Get in it and drive it around. When I sold this car, I had to MOT it, I had to tax it. I definitely would have had to pay ULEZ if it was there. But now, this is MOT exempt, tax exempt, ULEZ exempt. And as you know, I go into London quite a lot. So having a car like this, could just drive into London, perfect. It's probably going to cost me like 40p to insure it for the year. It's very good at keeping up with modern day traffic. It's really comfy. I can literally just get in it, turn the key, don't even have to stamp on the accelerator to get it to run, and it will just idle. Albeit, there is a few problems. So let's go over a few problems that I need to do. The bumper on the front here is a rear new old stock bumper, which came with the car when I bought it. This car had a bit of a front end smack on it and the front bumper was bent. That being a rear bumper meant there was no indicator holes, which I thought was personally a lot cleaner. So I used to drive this car without those front indicators on, because we have the front side repeaters on the wings and I could still have technically front indicators, and it just looked a ton cleaner. I also got rid of the front number plate, and the front rub strip across the front was so ugly. I literally binned it off and I think it looks loads better, even if there is a bunch of holes in the middle of it. Not only is this a rear bumper on the front, I've actually tucked these bumpers in about 3 inches. These bumpers used to stick out about here, and I took all the mounting points off and I sunk it all in. I did exactly the same as I did to the front, to the rear bumpers, made it all fit the car, and I think it literally transformed the car. This is probably one of the most subtle but effective mods that I've ever done on a car, and I love it. Okay, one of the worst problems about this car, which was a problem when I had the car, but over the years it's got considerably worse, and you can see here that the bonnet is extremely rotten. And yeah, watch this. That is the skin of the bonnet separated from the hinges. Now this bonnet is that way opening, so it won't really open that way, and it's, when you're driving it looks like your bonnet is open. So the guy that I bought it off actually gave me a spare bonnet which is covered in patina. However, I don't think I will be putting that bonnet on the car because it won't match this car. The green is slightly off, it's not quite the same, but the inner skin is perfect on that other bonnet, so I think I might try and take the other skin off the other bonnet, and then I'll try and bond that inner skin to the inside of this bonnet and keep it aesthetically pleasing. Because for me personally, the main priority to fixing this bonnet would be to do it so you cannot see it. This is the front of the car, everyone sees the front of the car. I can't have anything that is, you know, blown in or painted, even though this has had some sort of paint on it or blown in at some point. It's then aged again. If I go and do a load of welding on the front and like cut the front end of the bonnet off and have a weld mark all the way across, it's not going to look good, and I don't want that. I want to be able to do this so cleanly that you cannot see it from the outside. I know people can fake patina and blend stuff, but for me, my opinion is very strong about fake patina. I do not like it. Some cases of subtle blending, if you're really good at it, yeah, that's great. But a lot of the time, you can tell when something is fake, and I hate that. And I really do not want to be able to do that to this. So this bonnet will have to get fixed, and it is so important that you can't see it. A lot of you people would have saw there is a pop riveted plate into the roof, and this is definitely the biggest talking point of this car every time I owned it. This never used to be here, and it was open, and I only used to drive this car at the weekends or in the summer, so I didn't really drive it in the winter or anything like that. But the guy I sold it to started driving it quite regularly, and he did this, and it's been through 2 hands since I sold the car. But the guy I bought it off said this was there when he bought it, so the guy that I sold it to did this, and to be honest, I'm not mad about it. I had a roof brace in here, and you could literally get rained on all the time. This roof skin is very common to rotting out. I've seen it on a few of these cars over the years. They always rot out, but it looks like this was clear, siliconed in, pop riveted, and I drove it all day in the rain yesterday and it doesn't leak, so I'm pleased with how that is. I'd have probably done the same now. Younger me didn't care, and I always used to drive it around worrying that I'd get pulled over and the coppers here looking at this going, what on earth are you driving? Bearing in mind I only ever got caught in the rain once, so it didn't really bother me, but yeah, just one of those little perks of the vehicle. This seat, when I sold it, wasn't destroyed like that. It had a little rip on the top, but down the side here was not like that. But I did get given a set of seats with the car, but they're not exactly the same. I'll probably just leave these in. I'm not too worried about it. Maybe I'll fix it in time, I don't know. Probably not, to be honest. Like I say, this car is just for me to own, and I have no interest of really changing it aesthetically, just mechanically, because over the years I have gained so much more knowledge since I built this car, and yeah, there's so many more things that I can do to make this car better. I'll show you the bonnet now. Look, this is what I mean. That skin is literally held on with hopes and dreams, like the whole way across. That bonnet hinge is gone. That side, same again. Like the amount of flex in that bonnet is unreal. We come around this side, this entire corner is just not even there. So yeah, you can see where the front trim bolts on, and that might be the perfect spot to sort of hide our repair and do something with it. It's going to be quite hard to hide it, but I'm going to give it a good go, because yeah, when you're driving along, the bonnet is hanging off. And here's the engine. This is the Chernobyl engine bay. It looks a lot better when I sold it. When I sold it, I had a water pump go and it filled the entire engine bay with coolant. The whole bonnet looked like this, like inside and out. The whole engine bay was just covered, but properly reliable engine. If you go to start it, it starts so easily. You don't have to press the accelerator or nothing. Little sewing machine. You'll probably notice there that the engine was sort of like breaking up on high revs, and I have noticed that with this car. I put that carb on and it was brand new Weber 32, 36 I think. Had a couple of adapter plates and stuff to make it fit this engine. It works, but yeah, on high revs it does break up. I literally just put it on as it was. It was supposed to be for one of these, but it was for the American market one, and it took a little bit of a modification to get it to work properly, but it's always been on there. It's probably got some dirty jets or something like that. I don't know, but maybe in future we can rip that off and put some like bipe carbs on it or something like that. Something a little bit cooler in there. I've never dabbled with anything like that, so if I could do something cool like that, maybe I will. But for now, it works. It works so well, and I love it. It's so good. It's got an EG fan on it. It's got this little horn on it. I did not put that in. That is really not my style, but it's quite funny. One other thing to do for me, this fuel pump is mounted to the bulkhead and it's quite loud. You can hear it inside the car. I don't know if it's breaking down or it's not rubber mounted and that's why it's loud. This fuel line, you can see it definitely needs replacing. That's not very good. The gentleman before me actually put a timing belt on it, so it's actually, you know, it's had some mechanical sympathy for it. I mean, the radiator is sort of falling out now. I don't know why, but there you go. But yeah, this engine bay is, well, it's a working engine. It works. That's all you can really ask for. So what am I going to do to it? Well, number one, I'm going to de-tack it. There's so many stickers on this car that, like, it's not cool. It's not cool having stickers on your car. Like a couple of little tiny ones maybe, or one little small one. But every single window, every single corner of the window, like, it's not cool. Albeit, a lot of these stickers are what I put on back in the day. Mainly these three here. Like, this is the Caddy Showroom sticker. The other guys, Noise Boys, we put that on there. These are all surviving stickers, which if you buy a car, you should always remove the previous owner's stickers for 100%. But he's actually added a lot more on there. Even an air freshener, which I got from Worthesea 2018, and I put it in this car, it's still in here. So this car it's like a time capsule for me. It's so weird. Another thing I need to do, the ride height. Something wrong with this corner of the car. It's literally like a foot higher than the rest of the car. And as I've been driving it the last couple of days, I've noticed that, you know, this car is not even low anymore. I used to drive it really low and it hasn't scraped on basically anything. Like, a little bit on the back over like big speed bumps, but the front, jacked up. I haven't hit anything, so I could comfortably lower it a lot more and make it look a little bit nicer. Take this horrendous badge off the front, just some weird Viking. It's not cool. And then I'm gonna take the plate and the indicators off, and it's gonna clean the car up so much more. It's gonna look so much better than it does. So yeah, let's do that. So much cleaner. Like, so much cleaner. Obviously left that one quite like that. But yeah, already 10 times better. And now just to sort out the face here, get rid of all this junk. So with the power of YouTube, look at that. Look how much better the car looks with none of that crap on it. Just looks like 10 times the car. I'm quite annoyed that he tech screwed into the bumper because it was new old stock, but yeah, it's whatever. One thing I want to do is see if I can move this wiper down, because it seems like it's one tooth off and it's really high up. Ah, much better. Nice. Last thing to do is to lower it back down, and I've just come across something that is mildly alarming, not quite sure why. This side, all good. See, all the chassis is all nice and not actually rotten or anything. It's a really, really nice car. Coilovers, put in there. I think they're off an MX-5 or something. Can't remember, so long ago. Come this side, there is another coilover of some description with a top mount on top of it, and then on top of that, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, there's like a nut, and yeah, as you can see, that's completely different. So that'd be why it's high on one side. It has a different coilover in there. So yeah, I'm going to try and get this lower, but as you can see, we're at like maximum amount of friends nearly, and the top mount situation is not helping. So this is, yeah, not ideal. I'm going to try and sort this out. There's the top mount. This is what's inside. A big nut which is cut down. Washers and bearings. An old top mount turned upside down. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on here, but I'm sure I can do this justice. Let me get that out. And after some mismatch and bottoming out, we're at this point, and that is as low as it will go. I think we're gonna have to buy some coilovers or make some other coilovers fit this car, because obviously you can't buy any coilovers for this car off the shelf, so we are gonna have to make something, and we need it to be low, we need it to be comfortable. I actually want it to be a little bit lower than that all the way around, just like the rear, sort of tucked the top of the tyre in there, just a little bit too high on the front. So get the front down, get the fitment front to rear matching, get this rub strip on the door here, and then I think I'll be happy with it, really. So let's go take some final B-roll, and that's the finished product for now. It probably doesn't show on camera, but I am overly excited about this car. And now the way it looks now is exactly pretty much how I had it, and that is all I want. I want this car to just get in and enjoy. I could just do little tinkering jobs, and I won't have to do a full crazy build on it, because it is exactly how I would want it. And I keep remembering little touches like this here. These mirrors are off a Subaru Brat, apparently. They were on it when I got it. This is where the rear wiper was, so you can see where the sun was protecting the paint underneath there. And this is actually off a VW. If you zoom in, that part number is a VW. Pretty sure it's a wiper blank off a VW Beetle. It's so cool. It's also got pop outs on it. Really cool. The wheels are 4x120 all round, so getting another set of wheels is quite cheap compared to like your traditional 4x114.3. The whole thing is just so cool, and I wouldn't change it for a thing. You'll probably notice that it's got a little bit of a high idle. It wouldn't surprise me if the carb has an air leak and it's holding the revs at about 1500, 1600 RPM, depending on what mood it's in. So got to look into that. Potentially if I add some camber, I can add 0.5 of a lip to the wheel. When I get a new set of wheels, I can have a slightly bigger wheel. It might look a little bit more aggressive and a better stance, but yeah, overall, so happy. I just filmed this video on Monday just so I could show you what's going on. This is not the car that I've been talking about that I bought from the channel. This car is just for me to think about it and enjoy while I still can, you know. The opportunity to buy this back has been a very long time in the making, and when it turned up, I had to do it. Even though I wasn't really in the position to do so, I had to make sure I just got it because it's my car. Remember, the giveaway is live for the blue E34, gressels.com, link is in the description. We're selling a lot of tickets and you guys are killing it. Last time when we did the Sierra, the last day went nuts, so you know, just make sure you get your tickets first. Once they sell out, they're sold out, so yeah, get involved. You guys are killing it. T-shirts and hoodies are being processed today, so those that have ordered, you'll expect them soon. Everyone else that hasn't ordered theirs yet, you can still get them. They'll just be in the second batch, so it's a pre-order basis sort of thing. So yeah, thank you all for the support on that one. Really chuffed about what's going on. Really chuffed we got this car. Hope you enjoyed this video. You can see sense of why I bought this car. Let me know what you think about this car in the comments. Are you thinking, what a waste of money? Or are you thinking, wow, that is a cool car and you definitely should have bought it back? Because I'm on that side. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you on Friday for hopefully a new video on the E34 Touring. So thank you very much, goodbye. So before I get this comment, I will not be lacquering or clear coating any panel on this vehicle. This car has aged like this for 45 years. For me to go and put some clear coat over it and seal all the potential growth in its natural patina would be silly. So I will leave it bare as it is. It survived this long. I'm sure it's going to be fine. I do not need to seal it. Don't need to do any of that thing. It will relatively stay the same throughout the rest of my ownership of it, which will be probably until it completely falls apart. So no, I'm not touching it, not clear coating it, not doing any of that. It's probably the most annoying thing ever, because not only does it stop any natural patina, it looks shit as well. Like lacquering over rusty stuff, it's not natural, is it? Rust isn't shiny like that. Sometimes you can get away with it and you can polish it up and it does make it look a little better. For this car, it's not going to look better. So, and I don't care if you say you can do satin clear coat. No, it's not happening. All right. Thank you very much. Goodbye.